he came back on. Power had gone up. So he came back on, and it was 12:15. We had 15 minutes where we didn't have anything. So, yeah, it's tough to come on when there's dead air. Hello, I'm Marky Billson, your voice of choice for a new generation of Tri-City sports fans, and the name of the program is Tri-City Sports Now, and we own the Tri-Cities on 1420 WEMB Sports Radio, Tri-Cities, and blah, 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 blah. Because I've got the best guests and the hardest-hitting opinions in the market, and, the whole spiel. All right. Today's show, Alex Doherty. Actually, there was a phone glitch. Speaking of machines, I called the wrong number. So he's going to join me today instead of yesterday at 1:15. Predators play tonight. You heard the sports update. They're tied for first place. But they've got to finish with 1 point more than the Jets have. The Winnipeg Jets. The old Atlanta Thrashers. Of course, the Winnipeg Jets, it's not the quote-unquote same franchise where there was a Jets franchise, the Randy Carlyle, Timo Salami, all those guys, Bobby, not Brett Hull, back in the day, those sort of guys. All right. They were out there. The Predators, though, keep getting good luck. Wild beat the Jets to put them in a first-place tie, although they lose out on the tiebreakers. So, like I said, and then the Blackhawks last night defeat St. Louis, although it is a shootout, but that means that the Blues, with 2 left to play, they're still a point back of the Preds and the Jets for the race for it. Because if the Preds, the Blues don't get any of the tiebreakers, but they're still in it. They got 2 guys. Let's just say they win both games, and the Predators and Jets lose their 2 last games. Well, then the Blues are the champs. It works out like that. So we'll talk to Alex Doherty on theforecheck.com. Excuse me, he's not on theforecheck.com. I keep making that mistake. I am very sorry to the people at A to Z Sports Nashville, because that's who he writes for these days. And so we will be talking to him at 1:15. It is race week here in the Tri-Cities. And I haven't been able to talk about it as much. I got a bunch of NASCAR stories, though, here today. Can the Bushes continue their dominance? They're going to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Dale Earnhardt's first Cup win, that being back in April of '79 at the track. I've got the credentials. We'll be there. We'll tell you what we saw, all that good stuff. I'm very excited about the whole shebang. When I write this thing for Shadazy or something, I'm from Utah all of a sudden? No. And so, we are going to have on a quote-unquote track official. Of course, the people at Bristol are very excited. They are now in the playoffs beginning next year. And so, a man that I want to do business with in the future, Drew Bedard. He'll be joining me. I think he's been on the show before. Drew Bedard will be joining me at 1 o'clock, and we'll talk about what's going on, the races, and what $55 gets you, and all that good stuff. But the big news in Tennessee was that Jordan Bone of Tennessee, Volunteers that is, well, he's no longer going to be a Tennessee Volunteer. Jordan Bone is leaving the Tennessee basketball program. He's declared for the draft. Now there is a way that he can say, wait a minute, my draft prospects weren't that good. I'll come back to Tennessee. I've got Caleb Calhoun down at up at allfortennessee.com telling me, or he's written a story that says this is, big time loss for Tennessee. It's devastating. Me, I don't necessarily think that. I think it hurts them with depth, obviously. I try to look at a picture a little bit, beyond the general, how's this going to affect the Tennessee Volunteers. I look at it as, how's it going to affect college basketball? How's it going to affect the Vols look? Hosea James, couldn't remember his name the other day, but he's a 5-star point guard out of South Carolina, the 3rd highest prospect the Vols have ever received on the hardwood. And I don't know how to Does that go back to the Bernard King days? I mean, we could ask that. But he's supposed to be a good prospect. Now, I tell you all the time, look, don't get all that excited about these recruiting rankings. You never know when a guy's going to be a bust. You don't know until 4 years down the line. 2014 Vols on the gridiron, 5th best recruiting class in the country. By the time they're all seniors, they're going 4-8. All right? I mean, you do not know how these guys are going to pan out. It's going to hurt the Vols more that they're going to lose Admiral Schofield and probably Grant Williams. Can't imagine that he will stay at Tennessee. And the reason why is just the same thing, why Jordan Bone is going. And it's this. The college basketball player in 2019, and I think really at any time, he wants to be paid. And if that's from his college basketball team, if that's from an overseas team, or, remember, this is huge. I keep telling you, the G League paying players $125,000 a year coming out of high school. I can't imagine why anyone would go to college if they've got 125 K, or is it G's? What is it? Yeah, 125 G's behind them. Oh, well, don't get the chance to play at Rupp Arena. Who cares? Jordan Bone obviously doesn't. He's declaring for the NBA draft. He can play in Rupp Arena next year. That's obviously not that big of a deal to him if he can get the coin. Now, the Vols will regress next year. I mean, in fact, I think the East Tennessee team that could be nationally ranked will be the Buccaneers. Yes, ETSU. But they should be okay on the perimeter should the Tennessee Volunteers with James. There's always the chance Bone will dip his toe into the pro waters, say, it's not there, and come back to Tennessee, but it doesn't sound like that doesn't seem to be what he's talking about. But I think that, yeah, Bone is what the future of college basketball is going to be, and as I say, I mean, you talk about, you won't get the chance to play at the Poly Pavilion. Obviously, that did not mean much to LiAngelo Ball. Now, you can tell me that the Ball family is insane, and I might agree with you, but they did put on, or create their own basketball league, so they've got some business acumen, and they know how to get in front of a microphone. I do know that Ball wasn't going to play at UCLA for a year because of a shoplifting charge, but, I mean, think of it as a red shirt. It's Poly Pavilion. He goes to Lithuania, 14 games over there, and, it's a team where the coach was selling meat out of his truck. But he was getting paid. Now, it is very hard in this day and age, I think, that the college basketball player sees thousands of people cheering him on, knowing your team is going to make money hand over fist, and your benefit is room and board and a spot in the classroom. And it's really difficult. Paying college athletes, yes, opens up a lot of problems that nobody wants to address. I'm still not convinced it's the best way to go. Does it mean unprofitable sports at a university will be eliminated? Like track and field, or possibly? Do players get a flat cap of salary? In other words, the NCAA says, okay, yes, everyone will make $1,000 a year. Something like, and then no incentive to doing it, but here's your coin. Okay, will it be, or will you have hot prospect, the Hosea James? Well, Tennessee's offering me $50,000 to play here. Duke is offering me $75,000, and Clemson really wants me. They're offering $125,000. I mean, will it be like that? Who knows? You could not.
Admittedly, I don't know a lot of people, but the free agent, and back in the day in baseball, when you were a free agent, when you were coming out of high school, let's say. Yeah, if you were a prospect, okay, here come the Braves. And they're offering you $30,000, and the Dodgers are offering you $10,000. There's a famous story that Roberto Clemente actually signed for $10,000. He could have signed with the then Milwaukee Braves for $30,000.
who came in at the last minute, but the family said, but you told the Dodgers you'd sign with them for $10,000. You've got to agree to that. Yeah, Roberto Clemente was signed by the Brooklyn Dodgers. A lot of people don't know that. He was drafted by the Pirates. The Dodgers knew what they had, and they were trying to hide him in the minor leagues. And a scout by the name of Howie Hack, I think, saw him, throwing in the outfield. And who is this guy? And the next thing in it, they drafted him. I think it's called the Rule 5 draft. Anyway, and he became a Pirate. And that's the story of Roberto Clemente. I think there will be some, if you do pay players also, I do think, how does that affect an ETSU or a Quinnipiac or certainly a Chicago State or somebody like that that doesn't really make a whole lot, it certainly doesn't make the money that Tennessee does. Would universities say, enough, and try to brand themselves without star athletes and take more of an Ivy League model? And I'm telling you that even in a place like the SEC, that might be something to consider. Because the real talent in baseball, in amateur levels, let's say before you're 18, it's not in high school, it's in travel ball. In hoops, it's in AAU, it's not in the high school level. And in hockey, it's in the amateur level, not the high schools. But what kind of a fan following does amateur hockey have as compared to high school? What kind of, fan following does AAU basketball have as compared to high school basketball? Very little. And that's what college basketball keeps, promoting when they talk about the G League. Now, last year, Austin in the G League led all the teams in attendance with 4,000 a game. Flip for that, ETSU drew 5,000 a game this year. So, let alone what Syracuse and Tennessee and Kentucky and those guys draw. But, that also says, I think overall attendance G League was 1.1 million. They're kind of happy about that. What kind of a fan following do these teams have as compared to the identity of a high school team? And so that identity, high school team, your high school basketball team, it is not playing on the same level as the AAU team that comes to town. However, the fans go to the high school team. There's identity. There's team in town. I went to that high school. That might be the future of college sports to survive. And if it is, then they can, take more of an Ivy League model. And even keep all the coin with the TV contracts. That's what they're hoping. But just ask yourself this. Here's the thing with Bone, and I think it's part of it. Let's say you're a student at Yale Drama. Okay? Yale Drama. And now all of a sudden you're offered the chance, you audition, and you have a chance to star in a feature film. Think about this here for a second. Or maybe be the lead in a Broadway play. Are you really going to say, hold on, no, I can't. Do that. I've got Yale. You'll put Yale off for that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, which is what playing pro ball is. There'll be time enough for calculus when the shooting's done. All right, I'm Marky Billson. Again, Drew Bedard, Bristol Motor Speedway. He'll be joining me here, and we will also be talking to Alex Doherty of A to Z Sports Nashville about the Predators. Austin Watson is back. They play tonight. You'll hear about that coming up after this cut. It's Tri-City Sports Now. We are broadcasting not only on www.jetbroadcasting.live, but also on the 1420 WEM